stars who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome to the Wow Report. We are here in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard, in World of Wonder headquarters, just a few feet away from RuPaul's star, Jack Benny's star, Debbie Reynolds' star.
I just saw someone praying to it.
To RuPaul's star?
Yes.
Oh, that's hot.
Nice. My name's Tom Campbell. I am the creative chief officer, something like that, here at World of Wonder.
The man behind the magic.
I love to think that. And I am here with the wonderful club kid turned best-selling author, James St. James.
Who is on death's doorstep as we speak. I have bronchitis, so it's a miracle that I'm even here. If I make it through the broadcast, it'll be even more of a miracle.
Stay tuned.
He
Stay
was
tuned
just
to see
saying
if James makes it.
he had 4 shots. He has like 18 antibiotics. Some that you have to take with food, some that you can't.
I have a whole bunch of prescriptions, and they're like, take 4 times a day, but not with food, and then 3 times a day, but not more than 2 days. And on the first day, take 10, and then the second day, take 7.
You need a journal.
Yeah.
Can I just, in the words of Paris Hilton, that's hot. Joining us today also, that voice you heard is very familiar. It's Blake Jacobs, who's our millennial producer, who's often behind the camera working things. He's at the table with us because our beloved and fearless leader, Fenton Bailey, is making a documentary, darling. Yes, that's something I can't even do myself.
He's out of town.
He's out of town, but he sends his best, and he will be back with us soon. And we're just going to say, you know what? Without further ado, let's do what we do every week, which is count down the top 10 things that made us go, wow! This week, starting with number 10, James.
Number 10.
I watched Pose over the weekend. Really, I was surprised. It wasn't the shit show that I was thinking it might be.
This is Ryan Murphy's new series on FX.
It's about the voguing scene in 1987.
Yes.
It's about New York City, downtown. There's some Trumpian aspects, but it takes place a lot of it in Harlem with the voguing houses.
Yes. I love your, because I'm the same way. I saw it too, but it's like, it's not the shit show I thought it was going to be, which is high praise from us if you listen to our show.
Ryan Murphy is somebody who we appreciate, and we love the fact that he does all of these shows.
And so prolific.
So prolific, yes. But he does have a tendency to sort of go downhill very fast. He will have maybe one good season or maybe half a season, and then things start to fall down.
Right.
So far, this is pretty promising. It's like I said, it's about the voguing house. It's about a fictional voguing house. Sort of takes the story of Angie Extravaganza, is what I think it is. Some of the girls from Paris is Burning. If you watch Paris is Burning, this is sort of a deeper dive into that. There are some problems with it, a few little things here and there. People tend to talk in exposition on the show, where all of a sudden someone will say, "It's 1987, darling, and we are at the head of a revolution, a gender revolution, and all you have to do is pose, because anyone can be a supermodel, and all we do is Vogue, darling, Vogue." And like, nobody really ever spoke like that in 1987. There's a couple anachronisms, anachronisms, where I don't think people. It's the House of Evangelista instead of the House of Extravaganza.
Right.
But in 1987, we weren't really talking about Linda Evangelista yet.
Right. They say she was up and coming.
She was up and coming. In 1988 is when she cut her hair, and that's when she really came on everyone's radar.
But I mean, just the name Evangelista.
Yeah, but we really weren't saying that then.
Yeah.
So I also don't know that in the 21st century that the idea of mopping is as glamorous as it once was. The idea of mopping which is stealing, and they break into the Metropolitan Museum and steal
which was actually the Brooklyn Museum, I was told.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we should actually be encouraging people to break into museums and to steal priceless artifacts.
James has gotten all PC.
I know. But and some of the outfits were a little more 21st century than 1987.
Yeah.
Some of the makeup styles, but like I said, I was hooked the entire time, and I went into it with lowered expectations, and I walked away thinking it was really fun.
Well, what the standout thing about it is that it has more trans performers than any series before, and there's gay and however people identify. But it's remarkable because there's been such strides in the past few years. Obviously, like Transparent made this huge, bold step forward in scripted, but Jeffrey Tambor was
we have a little problematic.
Right, was straight playing whatever. But that 4 years ago that pushed the limit. Now Ryan Murphy with his clout and the culture culture with where it is, or part of the culture, that we're able to see all these new, and I don't even know all their names yet, and I haven't prepared well for today's show,
but
they're such promising, beautiful,
gorgeous
really
creatures.
talented
and really charismatic, and each and every one of them is a standout in their own way. Also, it's written by Janet Mock. I think she was, or I don't know if
she's one of the producers.
She's one of the producers,
as is Our Lady J.
Yeah, and the consultant.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
I think Brian and his team went to great lengths to make sure that they were covered, that they were making sure this was very inclusive and this was a point of view that was authentic.
Why didn't they come to you? You walked in a ball, didn't you?
Well, I did. I was in the House of Pancakes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
House of Pancakes.
But it's interesting because I know that Ryan Murphy has said that there's going to be some downtown elements. There's going to be some the lit pack of Tama Janowitz and Bret Easton Ellis and Jay McInerney are all going to figure into it somehow.
Love it.
So, and there, like I said, there's Trump isn't in it, but there's some people who work for Trump.
The Trump Tower is in it, yes.
And
I mean, it is. I had a weird little experience watching it because I forgot it was on, and I started watching like 10 minutes in, so I missed that opening scene.
Oh yeah,
which was the mopping of the things.
Right.
And I watched, and it was pretty compelling. And there's homelessness and how the house again. It is. The writing is right on the nose, but they are trying to explain a lot to people who don't know. And this is a house, and a house is a place where we make our own families.
And because it's not network, it's cable, but I mean, there is still going to be a large audience of people who don't know Paris is Burning.
And that's the notion, is to make this widely appealing.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely suggest you watch it. I definitely suggest it's something to see, and it's something new on TV.
But there's, a character, my favorite part of the whole thing was that there's one character who's supposedly straight, who's married, has a wife. He's married to Kate Mara. I forget the actor's name. He's in all of Ryan Murphy stuff.
Oh, Evan Peters.
Thank you, Evan Peters. And he
who is so cute,
is going and driving to the wharfs and picking up
trans sex workers.
See, I only got halfway. We forgot to record it too, and I only got halfway through it on my on demand before it crapped out. So I have to watch it tonight.
Okay, the thing about that though is that's a very fine line to walk right there too, because at the time there were people, we had a name for them, who had a kink or a fetish for trans sex workers. Right. But now that's
you can't say that word.
No.
The word that was used freely is no longer politically correct to say.
Yeah.
So we are having a cleaned up 2018 PC version of what happened back then, which is okay.
No. It's definitely okay, and it's great to take the stigma away from.
Yes.
Because we always, people like Laverne Cox are always saying that we need to take away the stigma of dating trans people.
Also a pioneer on Orange is the New Black.
So it's, it's great, but in 1987 there wasn't that PC notion that
no.
So it's a hard, like I said, it's a hard.
But the emotion they're getting into it. But I was gonna say there's a sort of a flash dance kind of thing at the end of the first episode that makes you quell with emotion. But my favorite moment, and I'm kind of joking, but the what's the actor's name again?
Evan Peters?
Evan Peters drives to the pier to pick up the trans sex worker who he has a relationship with, and he's driving a Chevy Citation. Remember Chevy Citations?
I remember those commercials.
Oh my God! It was the X-Type GM. And it says, I know I'm a weirdo, but you just see a car from a time you haven't seen, and they were so badly made, like none of them exist. They all melted. The Chevy Citation, keep your eyes open.
Well, I know we have to wrap it up, unfortunately, but the music on
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. And that was another problem of mine too, because there's a lot of really great music in it, but they didn't play top 40 music at the balls, and they have some top 40 music there, and that's a weird thing, because they were doing Love Is the Message, they were doing Sylvester, they were doing a lot of 70s stuff, so they weren't really playing modern,
Right, but it was still good.
Yeah, it was still fantastic.
Many of those songs have been Lip Sync for Your Lives on Drag Race.
Right.
And obviously, I think this is very influenced by Paris is Burning, the Jane Livingston thing, as is RuPaul's favorite documentary movie of all time, and Drag Race has definitely borrowed a lot from that too. So tens across the board for Pose. All right, let's move on to number 9.
Number 9.
I left the house after dark, you guys. It was a big step for me. I went out.
Wait, but don't you? That's the thing that I'm most proud of you about.
You're
is that
always
you're
going to
always
fun
going
things.
places.
Oh well, I don't. It just gets me out of my funk. But I went. My friend Scott contacted me months ago and said, "You have an American Express?" I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "You can get pre-ticket sales for Pink in concert." Now, I'm not a huge Pink fan. I don't hate Pink.
Oh my God, James sings every Pink
Seriously?
song.
I am like kind of. It's weird because I don't like Pink, but I find myself getting obsessed with her
Like
every
that
single
Just
one of her
Give
songs.
Me a Reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can't escape Pink. And I don't dislike Pink.
No,
I
and
just,
she gives 110%.
Oh, my
which you're
God.
going to talk about in 2 seconds. And then did she do her spinny thing?
I'm not. You can, don't spoil the end of my
Okay,
story.
okay.
So my friend Scott went. So I'm going, with him, and not in a bad way. I love my friend Scott. And then and I just can't plan ahead that much. And he's sort of like, well, when are we going? When are we having dinner? I'm like, I'm in production right now. Like I'll do. And I had to meet him there, and I had to take a weird freeway. Got there in time. She went on at 9. Was on the floor, and I was nervous the whole time because my friend Scott was a little bit edgy, just a little bit edgy about stuff. And he's like, "Well, I guess we'll never get floor seats." And I'm just like, I just wanted to be happy. Like, I got you these tickets. I should be happy.
You're a people pleaser.
I am, and he's right. And we had to stand the whole time. But I'm not afraid to sit occasionally. I'm not afraid to be the only one in Staples Center sitting.
Well, you are of a certain age.
I am indeed. But it starts off, and I thought, like, and I got to tell you, because I'll go in skeptical. In the back of my head, I might not express it, but I will on the show. Like, Pink's going to be flying over her heads and doing all her tricks. Because was it the Grammys or something where she propelled down a building, which was impressive, but seemed a little excessive to me in the bitterness of my
She's a little extra.
A little extra. So it starts off, and they drop a curtain, and there's a chandelier the size of Texas flowing back and forth, and she's on it, and she's going back and forth. It was really cool.
That is good.
And then she, it's like a hotel lobby, and she's being swung around, and it just worked. And she doesn't say a lot, and a lot of her messaging is in video and stuff, but she looks great. Well, she's happy.
She's been doing it. We don't realize that she's been around for 20
years
now.
I know.
And she's had hits for
After hits.
every
Every
There's
album.
never been a lull for her.
And she's in great shape, but there's a certain thickness to her. I say in the best way. She had lots of her costume designers at the end, they ran credits. And Zaldi, who does RuPaul's things back from the day, and the balls, and Bob Mackie. So it's like right up our alley. She's doing all the right things. So she's doing it. Everyone's singing along to every song. I don't know all of them, but I know a lot of them. What was the speech? It was one of the award shows
was
where
it
she
the
talked.
Grammys about her daughter? Yes.
They replayed the speech where she's basically like, my daughter came to me and said, "Mama, why do people say I look like a boy? Why am I so ugly?" And it just broke her heart. And they did that in between like a song, and it was just the words highlighting the things she was saying. And it was so beautiful. And you realize, and she also has, and she doesn't need to have this, she's not LGBT to my knowledge. She has a huge LGBT rainbow flag waving like thing about people being together, and just like, it's so nice to be in a stadium full of people who are celebrating us all together. Okay, so I
think she has been in a lesbian relationship.
Yes, okay.
And she's an A.
What does that mean?
LGBTQA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait,
which is asexual,
ally.
Actually. You're thinking, it's not say people say it's
AA.
ally.
Yeah.
Some people think it's
There's
asexual.
a QQ and an AA. There's a queer, questioning, ally, asexual.
I can't talk about AA on the air. Sorry. So, what? So, I'm in. I love it. I'm sitting a little bit, but I can see up through. There is one girl, and if you're listening, who is really tall and like toward the back and blonde, filming the whole thing, so I could not see over her GD head. I don't see what she's saying, but. Then there's the finale moment. Then there's the last song, and guess what? I'm a rock star. And out of nowhere, in a silver spangly bodysuit, she is magically hooked up. Maybe I was sitting down, couldn't see, and she flies like I'm in the middle, in the back of the back quarter of the floor, middle, center, stage, way far ahead of me, and she flies over the audience and she's turning, and you're literally like this. You're like this close, and she's like, "Hi," and you're like, "Oh my God, it's Pink!" She's saying hello to me. It is the best production of Peter Pan I have ever been to, and she does that. So she literally is like, everybody gets like within 10 feet or less of her, and then she sort of flows around, and then they have like a little stand, like a 10-foot pole, and she'll like rest her foot on that for a second as she has all these boys, and then she takes off again, and she goes off. Oh my God.
That sounds fun. I've never seen her, but I've always wanted to. I've always heard it's a spectacle in every song.
Yes.
She's so underrated to have been around for so long, and we don't put her with like Britney and
And she is, and she's almost bigger than them.
Well, I'm
in
sure if
some
we
ways.
broke down what her sales were, I think she's had hits like in every year, and
But it makes me laugh because one of her first songs that I liked so much, and I can't remember anything anymore, but she's like, I ain't no damn Britney Spears.
Yeah, it's Stupid Girls was the name of it.
Oh no, Stupid Girls is a different song, which I love, which is a lip sync song. But it's one where she sort of laments the fact that, I ain't no Britney Spears.
Okay, yeah. Dun, 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 or, yeah. I know it.
We'll play on the way out.
Yep.
So I think she's still touring. If she's not, you can probably watch clips on YouTube.
She is still touring. She'll be back in LA in April of 2019.
Oh, thank God you're here. It's called the Beautiful Trauma Tour.
Right.
And I loved it. So there you have it.
Wraps up May 22nd at
good.
Madison Square Garden.
If you're hearing it beeping, it's because we're live here almost on Hollywood Boulevard, so bear with us. Let's move on in the countdown to number 8, Blake.
Number 8.
Well, I kind of wanted to talk about LA Gay Pride this year because it's Pride weekend.
In LA it is, yes.
In LA.
This is Pride Month, June, but it's coming up, yeah.
And
wait, do you say ooh because you're full of self-loathing? Is that what's going on?
I was doing sort of a layer of sarcasm on top of irony.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not reading any of that right now just because I'm.
Well, do you guys ever go to Gay Pride here? In LA?
Dude, I'm not gay, but I have been. I live in West Hollywood. I know it's happening because the streets are flooded with tourists and cars. I probably will go down. I don't go to the festivals. A lot of drinking. I don't do that kind of thing.
Right.
But I like seeing the parade go by, or sometimes I'm at a AA kind of place and I walk back through the parade.
Right.
Do you go?
I have been a couple of times. I don't like to go because I live in East Hollywood, and before there's never been like Lyft and anything, and you have to drive over there and
you
park.
can't find a parking space.
Yeah.
And public transport, I don't even know how to do that in
Don't
West
you like
Hollywood.
things a little dirtier in Silver Lake, though?
I
Aren't you
do.
more of a Sunset
Mhm.
Junction kind of a guy?
I do.
Huh?
There is a DTLA Proud festival that's like 3 years old that I've been to for the past couple of years, and it's really cool. It's downtown Pershing Square. This year it's the 25th, 26th, and 26th of August.
Okay. That's
But-
your pride, man.
That is my pride.
Okay.
But I also, this year, I would like to go see some of the performers. It's Kalani, Tovlo, Iconopop, who I love, who works a lot with my favorite, Charlie XCX.
Yes.
Kim Petras also. She's
Well, they
amazing.
they are very good about getting amazing. I mean,
Well-
remember, they have amazing people. We saw Fantasia.
Yes.
I was with you, I think. for
I
that
saw
one.
Olivia Newton-John the one time I went.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Breaks my heart.
Do you guys know who the Grand Marshal is this year?
I don't.
It is Michaela Mendelsohn.
Oh, Michaela! I love Miss Michaela Mendelsohn.
Remind me who she is.
Transgender activist, entrepreneur, and restaurateur.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for Michaela.
Go, Michaela. It's, there was a post. I can't remember his name. It's terrible. David Mason. You know the guy who does Slick It Up?
Yeah, Dave Mason.
Who's really, you know who he is?
Yeah.
And he's really, and I follow him on Instagram and social media. I have met him, and he's kind of a friend with Ru, but I just am totally looking at his body, and he like makes fetish wear.
Yeah.
And he's kind of hot, and he wrote this, and he writes posts sometimes that are just insane, and I kind of judge him in a way, but I don't delete it because I love it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I've come to the point where I realize I'm not just judging in a mean way. I'm fascinated. Like, thank you for bringing me entertainment. But he wrote a thing saying, which I thought was so, he goes, for all of you gay people, he's one of us, who feel like they don't fit in at Gay Pride. He goes, I don't feel like I fit in at Gay Pride. He goes, and on paper, I'm everything Gay Pride's supposed to be, right? He's like,
Right.
looks good in a thong, and he's like handsome
Right.
and hangs around with, I don't know, adults, everything. And I just thought that was really interesting that we can just sort of put all that away. You don't have to go and feel like you have to fit in or that this is going to be the most amazing moment of your life. But I still think it's good to go. Last year was the Resist March.
Right. They
And this-
they switched it up a
yeah.
little bit. I do think, the Gay Pride is essentially it's for the kids,
Yeah.
and it's also for the oldsters. It's for the two,
Old heads.
It's for the two, and it's also for boys in thongs. There's like
Ugh,
something.
all of that's good to
Yeah,
me.
but it's you go there because you want to show the children how wonderful
this
gay
was-
life is, but you also want to reaffirm the fact that we've been here, we've been doing it for 40
Yes.
years now, and
Just
it's
to be witness to it.
Yeah.
My first one was probably 84. when
Yeah,
I
I
first
think mine
moved
was
here.
mine was 84 too. When I was in New York,
think I was
sometimes it's hard
07.
for me to go because it's like a slight mobby situation
Yeah,
that happens.
it's
I don't
trafficky.
Yeah, and I don't think that, and I don't do well. I don't like big lots of
Well, luckily you have this cough, so you can just cough and people just clear like a 20-foot
I know.
Typhoid Mary.
80s all over again.
No. But it's a thing to be proud of, and I guess hopefully people listening know this. But the other thing is like, why do you need a pride? Why isn't there straight pride?
Oh no, I don't eat. Oh God.
No, but it's just, we're just taking a moment. It's because we've been discriminated. We are discriminated against.
We're
talking
still
about
Well, and they
discriminated,
are
yes.
part of our parade if they are our allies.
That's right, absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. And I remember this. I'm such a corny old, but like it was AIDS in the '80s, and
It was
there
really a galvanizing moment.
Yeah, there was one year where everyone was given a balloon, and as the parade went by and the certain float went by, people released their balloons in memory of the people who they lost from AIDS. So when I just sometimes again we get hung up, or am I good looking and that. It's like, let that all go, and if you can, be part of Pride and participate however you want, or just even watch it on TV or something. But we're lucky that we have a community to be part of.
And there is no dress code, I read. You can wear anything as long as you cover up your tiddly bits.
Oh, well, then there is a dress code.
Yeah. Well, why would I even
Well,
go
this is
if I can't show
also
my
a
tidbit?
family event. So,
Yeah.
well, I have a trivia question for you guys.
Well, here, howdy do.
Well, I wonder if it's too easy, but I don't think it is. When was the first LA Pride? And where was the first ever gay pride parade, excluding Saturday, June 28th, 1969, at the Stonewall?
All right, that answer and more as we count down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio and SiriusXM. Don't go away.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Wow presents World of Drag, our first subscription box, and this is the actual inaugural first box. And I bet you want to see what's in it. First of all, the box is great. It's sturdy. It's really heavy, so I know it's packed with good stuff. And down here it says fragile, handle with care, and it's a little heel breaking. And then it says do not death drop. And then of course keep shady. So I love that in and of itself. So now let's see what's in the box. Oh, look aha! So there's Sasha Velour, winner of season 9. There is the ultimate icon, RuPaul, and then there's winner of season 8, Bob the drag queen. So they are welcoming you to #World of Drag. So when you open it, the first thing you see is Wow Presents World of Drag, a little poster. And this tells you everything that's in here, but I'm not gonna show you because I'm gonna show you step by step. First and foremost is the most important thing in this box is the best book in the world. Sorry, Bible, but there's another one. It's the Gay Bible. It's my book. So you got a special edition version of it, hardcover, and it's the Diva Rules. There's also a very sweet thank you card. Just very nice. And manners are really important. In this day and age, we forget manners. Nice thank you card from World of Wonder. Very sweet. Next, I see Sasha Velour playing cards, and I would open them, but you gotta buy it to see what's in it. It's a secret. Then we've got, this makes me very, very happy. This is the unicorn pool float. It's black and gold and beautiful. Who wouldn't want to float around in the pool in this lovely black and gold? You are making a statement in this unicorn. Isn't she gorgeous? And there's no hole in her, so you can sit on her, you can have a cocktail, a cockroach tail, your choice. You can just float around and be gorgeous in her. Black and gold have always brought me luck. Next we've got Hers First, Bob the Drag Queen, this little toiletry kit. You travel, you go somewhere, you never have the right size thing to put your stuff in because you don't need the giant one, and a little itty bitty one doesn't do anything. This is the perfect size. This can put your toothbrush, it can put your toiletries, it can put your butt plugs, and toothpaste, so everybody's happy. It's really good to have and travel with. And this one right here is the Drag Tot pins. First of all, you never know which one you're gonna get. There's 5 of them to collect, like Pokemon, you gotta catch them all. Each box has a different one, so you'll have to subscribe and get them to catch the whole collection. But if you don't know, the Drag Tots is a new animated series that's coming out on Wow Presents Plus, so you have to subscribe to that to watch Drag Tots. Next up, we've got a little travel tag. Listen, these are the things that either you lose, you forget, or when you go to travel, you always take the paper ones, and when you land, it's already gone. World of Wonder, Fiercest Luggage, that's super cute. Next up, we've got our World of Wonder Nuts to Soup. Aw, look! Squirrel friend! Look how cute, Queen Squirrel friend. That's not it. There's one last thing here, and this is World of Wonder Art collection series by Jason Messier. Let's see together what that looks like. Oh, this is gorgeous. So this is all metal. They would do artwork on metal like this, as you could get at the 5 and dime, Jimmy Dean. And you get all of that in the first World of Drag box. So imagine you're a subscriber and you get these quarterly. You get them 4 times a year and they are chock filled with drag, including my book. So go ahead and subscribe now at worldofdrag.com and get ready for some fun delivered right to your door.
All right, we're back. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM. It's me, Tom Campbell. I'm here with James St. James, Blake Jacobs. Fenton is away for the week, but we are carrying on in his honor. Right before the break, Blake gave us an amazing trivia question that ties into this month, June, Gay Pride. And what is that question?
Yeah, I asked when was the first LA Pride Parade, and when was the first ever Gay Pride Parade?
Well, I'm going to say it was maybe the first one was 71 in New York. I don't know. I remember they would meet they would end up in Washington Square, and that's when they would have all I think
Stonewall was 69.
Yeah.
I think the parade was in commemoration of that in 70.
Okay.
And I think LA's happened in 71.
I do remember seeing video of hippies in Griffith Park in 1972. That was like the first time, 71 or 72, that was the first time they ever gathered to commemorate.
Well, okay, so the first one in LA was 70. And that same year, it was the Gay Inn in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then, but the first ever was also in 1970, but it was a day before on Saturday in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago.
Yep.
God bless our gay forefathers and sisters. All right. Now we are ready to move on our countdown to number 7.
Number 7.
I got another house again. I bought tickets a while ago to see the farewell tour of Paul Simon.
Ugh, I love diamonds on the soles of her shoes.
Now, that is not something that I would ever do.
And that's why we go together like horses and potatoes. I realized, and I plan ahead. I mean, I thought, because Elton has his farewell tour, and I'll go online, and sometimes tickets, and I love Elton John, are so expensive that even I am like, you know what? I'll wait, and hopefully someone will invite me. But I got some reasonable tickets to see Paul Simon at the Hollywood Bowl, which is always a treat. I did it ahead of time, and I realized I had the sense memory thing. This is corny, but sometimes my mother and father have passed. And sometimes, because I'm such a mama's boy still, I think I'm seeing things so my mom can see them in heaven. I'm not sure that's how life works, but I just think like, oh, my mom is loving this Paul Simon concert right now, as I thought with my dad, which makes it all about me. Because in our 1972 Chevrolet Impala, which came with an 8-track player, touch me. Chevrolet gave you, because it was a brand new piece of technology, they gave you a Chevrolet sampler. Anyway, we had 8 tracks, but we had Simon and Garfunkel's greatest hits, which they could play in the car when we were on long trips, my brother and sister, a little bit older, and we'd listen to it over and over again. We'd all sing along. It was just so beautiful. And then, my parents loved martinis, and there was a point in life in like the early 80s, mid 80s, where we were all adult and we could all have martinis together, which sometimes meant dinner was very, very late, if not at all. But Paul Simon's Graceland had come out.
I love that one.
And my mother and father loved that. Diamonds in the soles of her shoes.
Yes.
Call Me Al.
Yes.
And then my brother had like Paul Simon's greatest hits, which is like Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, Mother and Child Reunion, Kodachrome, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, Still Crazy After All These Years.
Mrs. Robinson.
Okay.
Wait, no, what?
It's a Simon and Garfunkel's greatest hits. It's good. You're right with us. No,
Okay, keep going.
it happened, you guys. So it was the soundtrack of my little Campbell family life, and I had a great time. It was, sometimes it's the gayest audience at the bowl. This was, with all love and respect, the oldest audience I'd ever seen at the bowl. And I was like, I was yelling at people, saying, "Hey, hippies, keep it down!" And they were all flattered because they're all like, 75-year-olds, like, "Hey, you hippies, keep it down!" But I had a lesbian couple was next to me, and they were sitting in each other's laps, and they were gray-haired and swinging and swaying. And Paul Simon kind of is just tells stories much like I am right now, without much of a point. But
Who did you see it with?
I brought my friend Will.
Oh.
I had an extra ticket by film. Well, what is Paul
he a
Simon?
big fan?
I mean, everyone. Why this doesn't turn you on? Never connected. You have a story. You're a friend of Carrie Fisher's, and you're like, no.
Apparently, I liked Mrs. Robinson, but that's not.
No, that was on Simon and Garfunkel's greatest hits, not
What's
Paul
the difference?
Simon's.
What is
Paul
it?
Simon.
Paul Simon had a solo career, and he's actually still. He sang some. Always the
Well, I'm
problem.
a Garfunkel fan. Then I'm just gonna say it.
Wow.
Sail on, silver moon.
I don't even know what that
Sail
is.
on by.
Is that
Garfunkel?
Garfunkel?
Bridge over troubled water.
Oh yeah, okay.
I've lost it.
I love 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover and Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoe and Call Me Al.
Call Me Al. There's a really funny. There's a drag queen
Video?
who does it. Who is and she says that this is the weirdest song that's ever been written in the history of pop music. And if you listen to the words, it really is a bizarre song.
That's a great idea for a lip sync for your life.
Yes, but I want you to just go on YouTube and just drag queen Call Me Al, and because she sings it and she's singing it, and it's sort of like you're realizing how just crazy the song is.
It is kind of wild, and everyone sang along, and it was fun. So that's all. He's touring the rest of the country. There's just remember Paul Simon. He's a national treasure, and he's still writing good music. He wrote songs that I hadn't really heard that were newer and fresher, and they were kind of fabulous. So Paul Simon wrapped up his 4 shows at the Hollywood Bowl. Homeward Bound. I was lucky enough to see them, but stream him, listen to him.
Maybe he'll be like Cher or something.
He'll end up in Vegas with Cher.
Hello. Hi, we're filming a radio show.
Hi, Cher. Hi, it's Tom Campbell.
I thought it might be important. It wasn't.
Okay, good. All right, so let's move on in our countdown to number 6. James.
Number 6.
Okay, on CNN, I don't know if you remember last year they would do the 1960s, and then they would do the 1970s, and the 1980s.
A doc series Tom Hanks produced, etc.
Exactly, and it's fascinating, and they cover a lot of ground. And now they're going back and they're doing a deep dive into particular years that were more important, say, than wow. Okay, baby. So they're doing 1968.
50-year anniversary of 1968.
Yes, exactly. And it was 1966 is the Summer of Love. It was the year that you don't believe? Are you I thought 69 was the Summer of Hate. No, remember that was the year of the Manson murders and the year of Altamont and everything like that. So there was
Summer of Sam.
Yeah, there was 60. What?
Woodstock was
69
969. Yeah.
Yes, Woodstock was
69.
Okay. I don't know anything about the 60s, but so it's fascinating for me to go back and do this deep dive because 1968 was a year that everything changed. There was the year that Martin Luther King was assassinated, that Robert Kennedy Jr. announced he was running for president, that he was assassinated. There was
We've kind of talked about this before where you said there was a year where
yes,
you were so hopeful and then all of a sudden
yeah, that's what I'm saying. 66 was a year that there was a lot of hope in the air and everything. And then by 68, the world had changed and gone into completely different direction.
I saw that Robert Kennedy doc on Netflix, but this tells the whole year, and it's kind of cleverly divided. There's 4 parts to it, and it's winter, spring, summer, fall. But it really, I've only watched 2. I have my DVR because they are dense, and they're just TV shows, and they only are, with commercials out 44 minutes. But so much happened. Like you can't look down. It starts off with the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, which I'd always heard about, where they went on the streets and were doing and there's so much footage of Vietnam War. There's so much, and they went on the streets and they were shooting people, and it turned Americans against the Vietnam War because we were going into we were shooting villages and things. So they thought that would start a revolution or a subculture revolution, and it didn't. And it was all on kind of Johnson's shoulders.
And it was also the first time that war had ever been brought into your living room. It was like the fact that it was televised.
Which, by the way, it's not brought into our living rooms anymore. That's what it made me think.
Yeah.
They have sanitized war. People die, all the time in war. We don't see the footage. We don't see you would see the bodies coming off planes and covered in flags.
Mm-hmm. And it really it influeed the way we thought about
and
it.
It should
they should, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And they talked about the Vietnam War, with coupled with the draft. where you did not know if you were a young man at the time in this country, if your number came up, you were being shipped out.
That's always terrified me.
It terrified me. I remember being like,
I remember being scared. Yeah,
as a 5-year-old, I didn't because you have no sense of time.
Well, I do. I remember as a 5-year-old hearing about I think we've talked about this, the guerrilla warfare in Vietnam, and I thought that because it was around the time of Planet of the Apes, and I thought we were really having a war against gorillas.
1968 was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
1968 was The Graduate with Mrs. Robinson by the Simon & Garfunkel.
And the thing about Planet of the Apes that we don't realize now, we don't have that context, was that it was about the civil rights movement. Yes. And there was, they talked about how in Harlem and in the Bronx and everything like that, the African Americans were cheering for the apes, that they were the ones that they, and now when we watch it, we've lost that sort of the political aspect of the movie.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner was a big movie that year, which was all about interracial couple. Mm-hmm. And there was also In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah. Oh, you call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yes.
What do they call you? They call me Mr. Tibbs,
which was all about racial tension in a murder case in the South. I mean, an amazing.
Interestingly, they don't do. I haven't seen that much. There hasn't been fashion. There hasn't been music, and there wasn't. Because the Robert F. Kennedy, there's that famous story about when he was assassinated. It was the same day that Andy Warhol was shot by Valerie Solanas, and he was furious that he was knocked off the front page of all the papers because of.
They didn't mention that, but they do mention Warhol's shooting.
They did. I didn't see that. I must that thing where you look down. I must have missed that because I was thinking
it's so dense. You have to pay attention every minute. They did do also, and they did a little bit of music. Because they did James Brown because Motown was the sound of young America, but it was black. But they called it Young America, and then here came James Brown, and the race riots and the movement was the civil rights movement was so strong that James Brown was this unadulterated black power, and they talked about how it influenced all the other artists, and they showed the Supremes all dressed up, and then the Supremes doing Love Child. Everything needed to have some social significance to it. And then you think about, we complain about today and how there's a different outrageous Trump moment, but I have to say, waking up April 4th and realizing that Martin Luther King has been assassinated, and then waking up June 6th and realizing that Robbie Gaines, there was so much.
But I'll tell you
happened.
something else, because I've talked to my mom about this, and I kept, I said to her, do you have the same feeling now that we did in the 60s? And she said, not really, because back then you got the morning paper and there was the 5 o'clock news, or the 6 o'clock news. So you weren't inundated
you weren't
with
soaking in it.
You weren't soaking, exactly. There wasn't 24-hour news at the time. The fact that, she had 3 kids, she was raising a family, and so, there were things that were happening in the world, but you only thought about it for for an hour a day, as opposed to now, which is
like a topic where we need to step away from our devices,
exactly. But there, as much as it was going on in the world, there was it wasn't as soaking in it feeling that we get now.
I am looking forward to getting to Christmas. You've seen the whole thing because that was the men went around the moon, and I remember that being a magical time, and we needed some hope at Christmas. I remember Christmas being all about the astronauts, and I even learned how to pray, and I would always include the astronauts in my prayer that my mom taught me.
Anyway. Is 68 the same year at Christmas that the Phil Spector came out?
I think it was a little earlier, but thanks for asking. All right, we're continuing counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow, with number 5, Blake.
Number 5.
Well, we have to talk about the big gay wedding cake scandal.
The Supreme Court decision that came down about the cake maker in Denver. Do you understand it? Because I kind of do.
I kind of do, too. I read an article about it. Basically, it's saying, well, let me read you what Calpurnia, she said, all right, let me be contrary. Regarding the Supreme Court's decision that Masterpiece Cake Shop does not have to make a gay wedding cake. I don't know if people should have to make a wedding cake or other artistic things, wedding cakes are an art form, for something they disagree with, even if we consider it bigoted. Medical care, education, food for sustenance, life's necessities should be available to all. But as an artist myself, there are many things I would prefer to have a right to refuse if I was asked to write a song about it, or perform a dance for it, or even write it on a cookie and icing. I don't particularly want to make a Trump MAGA cake, and I'm glad I have the right to say no. Thoughts?
Okay. Yes and no. My problem with it is not on her end making the cake. Is why would a gay couple go to a bigoted place?
They were recommended by their wedding planner.
Okay.
The wedding planner said, this is the best cake person in town. Go to them.
The minute, though, you hear that they're
There's
biggest,
resistance.
The minute you think that, then you think, I don't need this. I can go to any other cake maker in the country and get my cake. I don't know why you would want to spend your money on
What if you
bigots.
went to a grocery store and it's all about lines, and I think it's a provocative thing to say. What if you went to the grocery store and they said, we won't take your money, you're gay, and you can't have food? That's a necessity versus a wedding cake. It's a blurry line.
Yeah.
But by the way, and it's worth talking about. I think what I've read, and again, I'm not the legal scholar, if you couldn't tell, is that this case was really about protecting the cake maker, that the Denver whatever government had come in and discriminated against him, but it does not set any precedent for gay couples being discriminated against when it comes to services. That has not been overturned. There's no precedent. It still reads bad. It still plays bad. It still feels like it might be, open up and give fuel to the other side. But we're told legally this. It came out and I read it. I was like, oh no! And it's like it's really that they ruled that the cake maker had been discriminated against because of his religious beliefs, not about the gay people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's legal stuff. This is why we have lawyers and they suck us of all our money. But
he's also. I read that he also refused to make Halloween cakes because of his.
Yeah. I want to be reasonable and I want to think, okay, you can not have to make the cake, but I also don't know. I don't want to have to worry about where I go to get my services.
Cakes,
and if you're getting married and it's legal, which I guess at the time they were doing they'd gotten married in Massachusetts and were having a celebration in Denver. Maybe it wasn't legal, but it feels like if it's the law of the land and you're using American currency, I don't know.
I know, I agree. I understand. Completely I understand.
Yeah. And but so if you, and I think they did it on Will and Grace. What if you had to make a Trump cake? Would you make a Trump cake if you were working at the cake division of World of Wonder? And someone said, we're doing a Trump thing and I can get you a business for 50 whatever.
No, but I would try and find somebody at World of Wonder who would do it so I didn't have to do it.
Well, that's the case with everything here. That was such a setup. I'm taking advantage of a sick person, aren't I?
It's okay.
All right. Well, can't have your cake and be gay too, I guess. Do we have a trivia question, Blake?
I sure do.
All right.
Dolly Parton, one of our favorites, is currently working on the soundtrack to the upcoming film Dumplin'.
Oh, I know who's in this.
Which tells the story of a plus-size teenage daughter of a former Texas beauty queen who enters a local pageant as a protest.
Blake, this is your life story.
The teenager will be played by Danielle McDonald from Patty Cakes, the Australian actress. Which Hollywood A-lister is going to play her mother?
Okay.
Oh, wait.
The Texas beauty queen mother.
Hold on. We get to think about it during the commercial. We get to answer when we come back as we continue here on the Wow Report of counting down the top 10 things that make us go, wow, this week. Don't go away.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
In a world on the brink of chaos, where fear is the rule of the land,
we will build the wall.
The voices of a generation have banded together. Bianca Del Rio, Adore Delgado, Valentina, Latrice Royale, and Detox, with the supermodel of the world, RuPaul. To give our planet what it needs. Baby drag queens.
Field trip.
Yeah, set phasers to stunning.
Ooh, snap.
Oh, maybe you're just not cut out to be a real queen.
Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
What day are you supposed to be, cornball?
I'm a Taurus day.
That's not even...
Glitter powers activate.
My best friends in the entire world made this dress for me out of love and kindness and sisterhood. It's priceless and it's not for sale.
I'll give you $10,000.
Sold.
Yeah.
I'm still offended.
But give me a taco.
We're back. You're listening to the Wow Report here on Radio Andy, coming from World of Wonder headquarters in Hollywood. It's Tom Campbell here with James St. James and Blake Jacobs. Fenton Bailey is away on assignment, but we are here counting down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. And before the break, Blake asked us a little trivia question about Dolly Parton's new project. Tell us the question again.
She's working on the soundtrack of a movie called Dumplin'. It's about a plus-size daughter of a teenage beauty queen who enters a pageant out of protest.
You say that so pretty.
Uh-huh. And who plays her mother? She's a Hollywood A-lister.
I think the bigger question here, the better question here, the better trivia question is what drag race queen is in this movie?
Oh, I don't know this.
Well, then I think that you should have done a little more research because that's the question. That's the takeaway.
Which one? Okay, you both asked the question. Should I try to answer?
Yeah.
First, I'm going to try to answer James. The drag queen in Dumplin' is Shangela.
I'm saying pork chop.
Ginger Minge.
Ginger Minge.
Yes, I thought Ginger was the mother, but I guess she's not. She just must be someone in the pageant.
I've just recently seen Ginger Minge. I love Ginger Minge. And I'm going to say the A-list Hollywood actress, she's supposed to be plus size or not, is Sharon Stone.
Jennifer Aniston.
What?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
She can do it. She can do anything. She's Jennifer Aniston, you guys.
Jennifer Aniston is also playing the first LGBTQ lesbian.
Right, she's doing the
president. She plays
HBO.
Oh yeah. With Tig Notaro.
Yes.
Oh, I like it.
I like it a lot. Speaking of Dolly and Netflix,
number 4.
Yeah.
Released on the internets and things of that nature. Dolly Parton has a deal with Netflix where she's doing an anthology series based each episode being based on one of her songs. Oh. And Dolly is slated to appear when necessary in them. Now, because there was all this, with Gracie and Frankie and Grace and Frankie.
Why wasn't Dolly a part of that?
Yes, and why? And I still don't know the answer. And I used to work for Dolly Parton years ago. Why haven't the 9 to 5 ladies reunited?
Yeah.
But they're not. They're so close. They're going to be on the same channel on the same queue. If you liked, but
Okay, 2 thoughts on this.
Go.
Sorry. The first is that we know that Dolly, her heart is in the right place, but if you remember the Coat of Many Colors story that she did recently, and it's been like the thing on the every Christmas.
Well, that's the reason that I'm sure she got the deal, because
they're horrible, though. They're just terrible.
But I think they did 2 of them, maybe 3, and they are ratings bonanza.
But they're just unwatchable. They're just terrible.
Is it Treckley? Is that
the same production company is doing this?
Yeah. And then second of all, we have this thing where we love our icons, we love them to death, but sometimes they just ought to stay in the past. And I'm sorry because and I'll tell you why. Because I was gonna do Carol Burnett's show, A Little Help, on Netflix.
Not so good.
It is the worst thing ever. It is unwatchable. It is just it's Carol Burnett and a bunch of kids, and she brings the kids on to answer questions of relationship problems. And it's a terrible premise. The kids are annoying. Carol Burnett is just, I'm sorry. I loved her to death back in the day, but she's just an old, doddering old woman now.
I don't know if this building will remain standing when you tear apart Dolly Parton and Carol Burnett in the same breath.
I'm just saying I don't know if we really need this from Dolly.
We need to stop the show. We need to do an exorcism on James.
I'm going to say, in defense of that, I love behind the music, even about bands that I didn't particularly care for. And this sounds like just like a behind the music of each song, and I'm totally there for it.
What is the show that we do on Wow Presents, where we take the drag queens and we talk about each one of their songs, the meaning behind it?
Let the music play.
No. This is exactly what you think it's going to be, James. It's going to be yucky
Hallmark
movies. And I love Dolly Parton. I used to work at her management company very low, but she did greet me by name at the Christmas party in 1989, and that in front of my boyfriend, which was...
I'm in the Warhol Diaries. The only time I mentioned in the Warhol Diaries is when Andy Warhol says that Dolly Parton was there wearing 9-inch heels, and James St. James was wearing the exact same pair of heels. And so that
How fabulous.
And I have a picture somewhere of me and Dolly in the same heels.
There's a great entry in the Andy Warhol Diaries about how Sandy Gallen hired him, or David Geffen or something. Sandy Gallen hired him and Dolly to do a portrait of her, which is famous, and then they delivered it. She didn't like it, and they tried to send it back. And it was this incredible string of lies.
No.
And so we talked to Geffen, but it was this whole crazy. It's what management was about. It's like no one told the truth. It was all like, but David said, but Sandy said, but Dolly said, and it's all anyway. I just want to. I do know the
Someone
song.
didn't like their Warhol portrait. That's crazy.
Dolly Parton, I know.
Uh-huh.
Send it back. Do you know the song "False Eyelashes" by Dolly Parton?
No.
You know, folks back home think I'm a star now when they hear my records play. They say their hometown girl done good, and she's come a long, long way. Mom wonders why I don't drive back in that big fine car I own. The truth is I don't have a car, and I'm ashamed to go back home. A pair of false eyelashes and a tube of cheap lipstick. A pair of worn-out high heels and a dress that doesn't fit. These are all of my possessions, all I have to my name, and a record played in my hometown is my only claim to fame. I love how she paints a picture.
Yeah.
Doesn't always make for a great movie, but it makes a great picture. Me and little Andy.
Well, maybe these are songs that we should go out
Yes,
on.
and The Grass is Blue is beautiful
Maybe
poetry.
every single song on this episode could be a Dolly Parton song.
I don't think they allow us to do that, but I would love the idea. Jolene is an amazing
Here
song.
you come again.
Here you
Why'd you come in here
again.
looking like that?
Why'd you come in here looking like that with your
I will
painted-on
always
jeans?
love you.
Movie after movie.
Romeo from the 90s. Y'all remember that?
It's kind
Peace
of
Train. Do you remember Peace Train with
Yes.
with the one that she did with Junior Vasquez when she did the house version?
She but I think there'll be songs that she wrote, and I don't think she wrote that one. But you know, we're making fun of it. We are going to watch it.
Yeah.
You know you are.
I will.
Islands in the
And we'll be
Stream.
talking about it. She didn't write that one, but I like that. So Dolly Parton, the miniseries coming to Netflix. Stay tuned because we will be watching and
I'm
laughing.
sorry the heresy about Carol Burnett.
no
I
big
know
deal.
it's just it is. It's
No, I also hate Michelle Obama. She's just awful. Let's move on to number 3.
Number 3.
That's me, number 3. So You Think You Can Dance premiered this week. The 15th season, I believe it is.
Oh my gosh.
And it's they keep saying that every season the talent gets better and better and better, and you
that.
sort of have to up yourself every season. This year it's Nigel Lithgow who's who does it. Twitch, who was like season 1 or 2, he's back and he's one of the things. Vanessa Hudgens is one of the judge.
Cutie pie.
And Mary, what's her name?
The choreographer.
She's crazy.
She's crazy.
Nuts. Mary. Oh God. Oh, Mary McMuffin.
Murphy?
Mary McMurphy. Mary McMuffin. Mary McMuffin. Yeah, Mary McMuffin, the drag queen that we all love and know. But this year it starts off and they bring on this one girl and she's from the Ukraine and she does this very dark performance art piece where she's like a bug and she's sort of like walking like a lobster and then she sheds off her outfit and her clothes and sort of it's fascinating. If you get a chance to watch it, it brings it opens
It's
the
good.
show.
It's not a joke.
No, it opens the show and it's mind blowing and it's just fabulous. Then there's a couple other people that come on, and then we have one of our very own favorite celebrities, RuPaul's Drag Race alumna, Laganja Estranja.
Exactly, from season 6 RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
Maybe the most quoted queen in Drag Race history.
Yep. She comes and she is all tongue. Yeah, she is all tongue pops and occurs, and she's
In drag.
In drag, she's in drag. She has dropped the Laganja for the wider audience. She is now Miss Estranja. Okay, Miss Honey Girl, I am Miss Estranja.
Because she's no longer named after a marijuana.
An herb,
An
yes.
herb.
She introduces herself. She performs to CoverGirl, RuPaul.
Put
which
the
is
bass in your walk. Okay.
She started off with a shablam, with the death drop, which is sort of, I don't know if you should have started off with that or you end with that. She made
Both if it's RuPaul's Drag Race.
right. She didn't wow the judges. Okay. And it was because, like I said, it was really strong. The competition this year is really strong. But she was so charismatic and so magnetic and so fascinating to this crowd that probably is not a RuPaul's Drag Race watching crowd. Yet. I mean, it's a lot of young kids. It's a lot of... So right off the bat, Nigel was like, no. Because Nigel, I'm just going to say it, can be a little homophobic sometimes.
He's not listening. Go ahead.
He's not
He and Carol Burnett don't listen to this show, so just go ahead. Rip,
But then
tear, shred.
Twitch, Vanessa, and Mary were all very enthusiastic yeses.
Yeah.
So they overruled him. So Jay, or Mrs. Estranja, Mrs. Estranja is going through to the next round. She goes.
Jay.
She is at Jay, but then she comes out and she says, "I am Miss Laganja." I am Miss Estranja. Occur. So, it's fascinating. They were saying that she doesn't have the technical skills that some of the other dancers have, and she says, but she says right off the bat, she says, I can do it all. I can do hip hop. I can do ballroom. I can do everything you ask of me, and if you give me the chance, I will show it to you. And that's what sort of pushed her through. And I believe that she has the skill to do it. I just don't know that it was her best performance this opening night.
Well, even if she doesn't win, she's already won because she was background dancer for Miley Cyrus.
It is interesting to watch our girls spread their wings and take over all areas of pop culture.
Absolutely.
And we have Bianca doing movies, and we have Bob in movies. We have everybody doing
Ginger
Minge, exactly. But this is something that like is a different reality show, and it's a different showcase for her talents that maybe she wasn't able to show as much on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Queens are everywhere.
Yes, and so it's fascinating and continue to watch for her.
All right. So watch. So You Think You Can Dance Mondays at 8 p.m. on Fox, and wrote for Miss Estranja to her friends Laganja Estranja. Okay. Moving on our countdown to the coveted spot of number 2.
Number 2.
I want to talk about Claws, the TNT drama. Do y'all watch it?
I want to, and I haven't.
It seems like it's so up your alley, and it seems like it's everybody that you love is on it.
I just haven't
resisted.
It's about TNT that resists me. I don't know.
I understand, but I watched it on Hulu with my little sister while I was at home.
Now that's chic.
And let me tell you about it. Well, Hulu has the entire first season, so you can get caught up. Season 2 starts on Sunday.
I've seen ads.
It's got Niecy Nash in it.
I love Niecy Nash.
She plays Desna, like the owner of the nail salon.
Yes.
And then there's Karuchi Tran.
Yes, who we love. Yeah,
she used to date Chris Brown. She is Virginia. Carrie Preston, who is on
Love her
Drag Race, is Polly.
Has Niecy ever been on Drag Race?
Yes, she has.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Jen Line is Jen, and she's like the country Dixie Mafia mob wife. Because it's all like about like country Florida panhandle mafia.
But they work at a nail salon?
The girls work at a nail salon.
That's the claws part.
Right, And Niecy Desna dated like this hot guy, and his name is Jack Kessie is his real name. He's Roller on the show. Uncle Daddy is the Lord.
I don't know what any of this means.
The main guy is Uncle Daddy, and Roller is Uncle Daddy's nephew. And Niecy is dating him, and he's really hot. And there's this other.
But don't they like end up owing the mob money or something? Isn't that
it's sort of like that? Like they launder money, which I'm still not. I Googled it and still don't really understand what that means.
I understand. He's a hot guy,
right?
Sounds a little like Good Girls, right? That show on NBC.
Oh, right. Okay.
Are they good girls gone bad, or are they kind of bad girls?
They're kind of bad girls.
Oh, good for them.
And but I forgot my favorite is Del Dickey. Do y'all know who that is?
No.
She was in Sordid Lives, but you may remember her as Patty, the daytime hooker on My Name is Earl.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
I love her, and she is in this. She's Uncle Daddy's wife.
Weren't you a big My Name is Earl fan?
I did like some My Name is Earl.
What's her name?
Her name is Dale Dickey.
You sure about that?
D-A-L-E, yeah.
Because you recognize her because she's in all of the...
Yeah, she was in... Uncle Daddy calls and says, we're at war with the Russians, and she said... I'm putting down there.
Crazy.
So you have to watch Claws. It is so good. Season 2 premieres
The Hulu
Sunday.
thing is good. Are they hours or half hours?
It's an hour, but they're only 40
Hulu,
minutes.
they're 40s.
But it's one of those that
Yes.
You have to see the next
right.
episode.
I like it. I'm gonna watch it. So let's
10
all
episodes.
of us check out Claws on Hulu, or let's watch it as it premieres on Sunday at 9 p.m. on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Probably
Thank
also
you.
video on demand and iTunes.
Yes,
probably.
Yeah, you can watch it on your watch or something. On
Your
Fitbit.
iWatch.
On your Fitbit. All right. We have to take a little break. When we come back, we are going to reveal the number one thing that made us go wow this week, and maybe even the Resistor of the week if we can think of one between now and then.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. You'll listen to the Wow Report in Sirius
Sirius FM?
Well,
Sirius FM, seriously.
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM. Don't go away.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hey guys, it's Tatiana, and I'm super excited about my new show, Tea with Tati, on Wow Presents Plus. Now you may ask yourself, how can I watch that? How much does it cost? Well, I can tell you this, it's not very expensive. It's $3.99 a month. $3.99 a month is cheaper than getting a small popcorn at the movie theaters these days. Don't be cheap. Also watch my show. Tastes like a bargain. Now that's a good choice.
All right, we're back. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. It's Tom. I'm here with James St. James and Blake.
Hi.
And we have come to that point in our show where we reveal the number one thing that made us go, wow!
Number 1.
Miss America.
Oh, I've heard.
The Miss America pageant.
I just saw this today.
Is in the news. It is, we actually had a conversation with the organization. Me Too hit the Miss America pageant. Sam Haskell, who's this amazing agent who I knew for years and years and years, had some really bad correspondence using the C word, and he and a lot of men who ran the Miss America pageant for a long time were shoved out. And who took it over? Gretchen Carlson from Fox.
Oh.
The woman who rang the bell, the first one who did the sexual harassment thing that brought down all the sexual harassment at Fox. Former Miss America herself.
Sure. Okay.
And now so it's sort of brilliant that she's taking over the Miss America at this incredibly pivotal, awkward time when a beauty pageant, which is always
talk about anachronisms.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like it's pertinent in today's society.
And their goal, we met with them about maybe doing a doc, and their goal is to like rebrand to, they've always said about the Miss America pageant, it's different than USA, it's different Miss USA and Miss Universe in that it's a scholarship program. They've always been very proud of that.
But I do know that the last couple of years it went down to 5 million viewers from 8 million.
And it was off network for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, in the 50s and 60s, do you remember growing up and watching the Miss America
Parks
pageant?
who did it? Or was
yes,
that, there
she is.
I remember
Miss
doing it
America.
even in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yes,
we watched it.
It was a big thing. Well, then the reason it's in the news specifically is they announced, and it's happening in September, that they're not doing the bathing suit competition.
Oh, yeah.
It started off as a bathing suit competition, like in
Right.
1921 in Atlantic City. It was like to sort of promote Atlantic City, and what did everybody love? Gals in bathing suits.
My mom never let my little sister do any of that.
Yeah.
Just for that reason.
The pageant thing.
Yeah.
And that's what Gretchen Carlson was quoted saying, that a lot of women are into the idea of the organization and what it does and what you can get from it, but they wouldn't parade around in a bathing suit, so they're taking it away. Now, it's an interesting time because we also live in the age of Instagram, where women who are strong and like Kim Kardashian might be one of the most powerful women in the world. Amber Rose does the slut walk and takes it back, and they're into being naked and selfies. It's like, what is
body pride? It's
body pride versus objectification from others. It's it's confusing.
Well, I think it's a matter of choice, and if it would be interesting if you could choose to do that section part of the show or not.
Yes. Or do a beach cover-up.
Well, I read they also got rid of the evening gown, and I don't really understand why.
Is that true?
Why would you do that? That's my favorite part.
See, we don't give a shit about the bathing suit. Evening gown.
Well, but evening gown, you're all like covered up. It's an
also
evening
my
gown.
other favorite part was also the one like in Miss Universe or Miss where they come out in the different outfits of their native.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember it was in Miss USA that they would always come out in your state.
Yes.
They'd have a giant peach outfit, or they'd have a giant, like red, white, and blue sparklers.
Yes.
Yeah, and I always enjoyed that, and they don't do that anymore either.
Arkansas would just be a mosquito.
I hate to say this, but it's like, in a weird way, Drag Race is more relevant than Miss America. Because the fact that it's all pageantry, that it's separated from sex in a way, you know, that it's the pageantry. It goes back to the ball and the pose and the realness and, you know, living your fantasy. And it's not about necessarily, or I don't think it's really at all about sexually objectifying people. They're taking sex and curves and fashion. So it's going to be weird. I wish them luck. I think they have a very worthy thing they're trying to do, but at the end of the day,
it's a little sad.
Where's the fun?
Yeah.
And I don't want women to be objectified in a horrible way.
No,
but
no.
It's, can you do a pageant? I am like the bathing suit thing. I can deal with. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight knowing that there will be no evening gown competition. What's left? Like culottes?
No, but all that's left is the talent portion, which is one of the worst parts of the show. If you remember, the one woman who got all the press a couple years ago because she did the puppets, and they show that on CNN, and it is probably one of those cringeworthy things. And a lot of so much, you know, they come out and they do
an evening gown.
Oh my god.
They do fire, you know, they fire throwing and fire breathing, and it's cringeworthy. The talent is always cringeworthy to me.
Then they should do them as challenges like RuPaul Drag Race, where like you all have to sing, and I'm telling you I'm not going. Ready, go.
And you have to sew your own evening gown.
Yes. Now that is
or hot
interesting.
glue it, whatever.
Right. So Miss America, we might be checking you out come the fall. Good
or it
luck
might not
to you.
be.
Yeah. And you know what? We might be watching it, but we might be wearing evening gowns ourselves.
Exactly.
I won't be wearing a bathing suit. The Resistor of the week is a little lady that used to fly like a nun. That used to take all the moondoggies and the gadgets. Sally Field.
We like her. We really like her.
We like her. We really like her. Sally Field is one of my favorite actresses of all time. Is a wonderful person. We hear her talk, and she tweeted. I don't look to Sally Field for my political commentary, but she tweeted about the controversy around Samantha Bee calling Ivanka Trump, and I want to
a feckless C word.
A feckless cunt, I think was the word. Was it?
Yes.
Feckless cunt.
A feckless C word.
C word. Oh, see, you're going to keep your advertisers, and I've just lost mine. And she wrote this.
She said, "I like Samantha Bee a lot, but she is flat wrong to call Ivanka a C word.
Mm-hmm.
Cunts are powerful, beautiful, nurturing, and honest."
Think about that. Sally, well played, well said.
I love her.
I do love Sally Field. And she has
Still Magnolias.
She has the Gale son. Oh, I'll start to cry. I'll go back to that after the funeral
I've
scene.
never seen Still Magnolias.
Oh my God.
What are you doing right now after the show? Oh my God.
If you're sick, you have to.
Home.
It's just out the window. Anyway, Fenton, you can see why we need you desperately, so please come back. I've had fun. You guys had fun?
I've had so much fun.
Well, thank you, Blake, for coming and filling in and doing research.
I'm going to go collapse.
James, you feel like you're getting a little bit better, so we pray, everyone watching, prayers for James St. James, healing prayers.
Yeah.
And until the next time we see each other, people listening, people watching, go out and do something to make the world go.
Wow.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye.